6 o'clock. All right, with that being said, open up the meeting. The site plan review special permit for MH Rose Incorporated, it's a continuation of January 7th, 835 Main Street.
Evening.
Good evening.
This is continuation of the November meeting.
Yep.
The only real change is we reworked the plan to, based on the third party review, adjusting the dumpster location to the rear of the lot, so it's not within the 20-foot offset, and modifying or just clarifying the parking spaces to meet the standards.
Okay.
So aside from that, it's essentially the same drawing that we looked at back in the last year.
Anything from members of the board?
We are agreeing to new granite and sidewalks in front.
I'm sorry.
We are agreeing to new granite and sidewalks in front of your property.
I have no issue with that, yeah. You're talking about right along on Main Street?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
My only concern. So my only concern, I see
Yeah.
no new sidewalks, it seems like they're a mess.
Douglas, anything? John? Yeah. Tom?
I'm good with it.
Somebody wants to make a motion?
In the form of a motion, Mr. Chairman, I would approve 835 Main MH Rose Inc. for their special permit for that building and that lot.
Second. All in favor? All set?
Great, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
is the board drafting that decision or do you want?
I would like you to draft it.
Are there, I heard the applicant say that there were revisions since the November meeting. Do you have an updated plan set that was submitted?
Yep,
Okay.
right here.
Can I?
You can have this one.
compare that?
Perfect. Moving on, special permit for Gabriel Verano, 80-82 Chestnut Street. It's a continuation from January 7th meeting.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks. Did you say this was a continuation? This is the first time we've been.
I'm just reading what's in front of me, so,
No, he was here informally.
okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So, good evening, William O'Neill, and I have Mrs. Morano's husband, Mauricio, here with me. This involves the Big Blue House on Chestnut Hill, about 3 down from Lou's Diner. And it's a very substantial house. In fact, one side of the house has about 2,500 square feet. So it's currently a 3-family, and one side has 2 units, and the other one has a 2,500 square foot unit, which makes it extremely difficult to rent.
Yep.
And Miss,
This is the house with the shared driveway, correct? I think you were here.
It's
Few
not
years
anymore
before.
shared driveway.
Huh?
It's not anymore.
It's no longer, you put it, there's a fence down the
Yes.
middle of it.
the fence now, and you can actually drive in on the right side, go around the house and come out on the left side along that fence that you referenced. Yeah, so I think in 2018, Mrs. Verano or Mr. Verano was before the board.
Yep, I remember
Uh,
that.
And I wasn't here, but my understanding was, although they had gotten a zoning variance, which I do have a copy of, and we're back before them. We went last month, but there was a publication problem, so we're going back next week or the week, whenever they meet again in February. But there was a variance, but my understanding was the result was from the direction from the planning board was he needed to have the property sprinklered. So we do have a sprinkler plan to present before the board. I think everybody knows the house, but there's a long history to it. You know, when the all the manufacturing came into Clinton,
Yeah.
and I have a 3 or 4 page summary that is not my work at all. It's Attorney Stephen Philbins, who had represented them and submitted it to the zoning board a number of years ago. I'm happy, I have six copies of it. I'm happy to hand that out.
I think we're good.
Okay. Anyone else or you're all? Okay, yeah, you said you're good. I'm just, anybody else?
Anybody else? I mean,
There's plenty of parking down there, Paul.
you got all your parking shown?
Correct. So I have
Yes.
a plan that was submitted. It should say Capco on it. And there's parking. There is additional room for parking, but it would require the removal of some ledge. But there are 6 parking spaces drawn in on that plan. I also did bring multiple copies of the sprinkler plan for the property.
We run through the units and tell me how many bedrooms are in each unit, please.
The bedrooms, Mr. Rachel?
Yes, the 82 Chestnut Street is a 2-bedroom, the first floor. The second floor is
No, what the proposed, please.
oh, forgive me. The proposed is right now, it's a 5-bedroom, 3 bathrooms, and a dining room, a kitchen, and an office, and a living room.
All right, let's do it this way. Unit 1 has how many bedrooms? Proposed.
Oh, the one that we would have proposed, forgive me. The one that we would have proposed unit, what it would be unit, the new unit, unit 4,
Yeah.
that side. So the first floor would be 2 bedrooms.
Okay.
And the upstairs, sir, would be 4 bedrooms.
Okay, we got 2 more units to go.
The right side, sir, where I live, 82 Chestnut Street, is a 2-bedroom, the first floor.
Mhm.
And the upstairs, second floor, is a 4-bedroom.
Okay.
So 80 Chestnut Street is the big one that we're representing to break down into the units that are specified. 82 Chestnut Street is already broken down. 80 Chestnut Street is the one we are looking to, remodel.
So tight for parking, absent the sprinklers.
I do have a 3D sprinkler layout if you like to see it in color. Other than what's there.
So for parking, Dale, that's where you asked about parking. So there is a plan that does show 8 parking spaces done by Capco.
Doesn't have that.
Front was right in the front.
Rear of the building.
I have one.
So is the plan to get rid of that ledge and allow for some more parking?
Yes. Whatever is needed, yes, sir.
I mean, I'm not really one for 4 bedrooms in a unit like that, but who am I to say? You mean parking, I'm fine with it.
Mr. Chairman, are these for rent or for sale? Are these for rent or for sale?
For rent, sir.
I can't go for 4 bedrooms in a unit with no area around it except the parking.
Okay.
I would submit that it's probably better to have 4 separate apartments as opposed to you're gonna have multiple families could move into this 2,500 square foot apartment. And you probably have more congestion in that than you would have by having 4 separate apartments. If we go back to the history of this, it was basically a rooming house. When the factories come in, they built these massive buildings and houses and much of Chestnut Street, Crown Street, all those duplexes that you see around were all housing for the employees of there. And this one was built, I don't know how it got that big, but it was gigantic.
Yeah. Times change too, so.
You have to go back and go to zoning, you said?
What's the predicament with the zoning board? I caught a little bit on the meeting. Was there a mistake with the filing? or
Yes, no,
something?
it was, box was checked off saying special permit. So we have filed and we are on the schedule with the zoning board next week. Next week. As I said, there was a variance that was approved. And looking down the list of people, 4 of them are still remain on the board. So unless there was some major change in their mindset, the decision was granted November 14th, 2018. So that's when it was stamped in by the town clerk. So we don't have a variance approved at this point, but we're optimistic that when we go back before the zoning board, it will be.
But when you have, it has to be deleted, don't they?
Now, could you just go over the number of bedrooms again, for the unit,
Yeah, that's exactly what I was
unit one?
asking Bill. 82 Chestnut Street where I live, Paul. The first floor is a 2-bedroom.
Okay,
The upstairs is currently a 4-bedroom.
it's currently,
Yes, sir.
Well, that's what he has proposed, 4 bedrooms.
Yes.
yeah, but it's,
80 Chestnut Street is what we're proposing to rebuild because it's an entire apartment. That is the 3 floors, 5 bedrooms.
so that would be
bathrooms.
apartment number 2?
The first floor would, no, apartment number 3 and 4, because, oh, excuse me.
Big one.
Okay.
Forgive me. What I meant to say, Paul, because I'm getting confused, as you're facing the house.
I'm getting.
I'm sorry. As you're facing the house, 80 Chestnut Street is on the left with 1 apartment on the first floor. That would be remodeled into the first floor apartment. Then we're going to make the second floor same as 82 Chestnut Street, the 4 bedrooms with the 1 bathroom.
I got you.
82 Chestnut Street is 1 floor, 1 apartment. Second, third floor are together. We're gonna do 80 Chestnut Street the same. First floor, 1 apartment. Second floor, and third floor are together into 1 unit. So it would become a 4 family house versus 3.
So I guess from understanding
I get a
that part,
total of 10.
it's still the same amount of bedrooms.
It's still the same
You're just
amount.
splitting it up.
I am splitting it up.
Okay.
That's all I'm doing. Yes.
That
No additional bedrooms.
I am
no
not
additional
adding,
bedrooms.
I'm not adding any additional bedrooms.
Redistribute them.
Financially, just as impossible to rent
And we're
an
getting.
apartment that big.
And I'm adding a sprinkler
Yeah.
system. Right.
Makes sense.
All right, any other questions from the board? Any public comment? Any butters, anybody? Okay, guess we'll close the hearing on this.
Motion to close the hearing.
Second.
Aye.
Um, I can't,
In the form of a motion, I would grant the special permit As long as we do put the effort into removing that and creating a little bit more parking there,
Sure,
just so we don't have it out in the street, and having more of a mess there.
sure.
Is that removing the ledge? If I just-
Yeah, yep, get rid of the ledge, make another spot there. You probably get two maybe.
Sure.
And that would be, my motion.
That's good, Josh.
Somebody second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Mr. O'Neill, if you can draft that decision and get it and,
And passed by Attorney Costa?
yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, good luck.
Have a good night. Thank you.
What is this now?
Moving on, with site plan review, Clinton Middle School. Niche Engineering on behalf of the town of Clinton, continuation from January 7th, 2025.
Side would you prefer we set?
Whatever's easiest for you, sir.
I know.
Excuse me.
I don't know how to they can do it.
Floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Peter Crusoe. I'm the architect with Lamro Pagano Associates. Joining me is Chelsea Christensen, civil engineer from Niche Engineering. I'm just going to give a little bit of background and some upfront information about the school itself, and then I'll hand it over to Chelsea to talk about the site. So the school is 136,000 square feet. The footprint's approximately 85,000 square feet. It will serve grades 4 through 8, and it's 2 stories. Regarding the exterior of the building, a majority of the school is brick at the request of the school building committee and the urban building committee. Is to represent the town of Clinton's rich industrial heritage. And in addition, some of the other exterior building components are fiber cement and ultra high performance concrete that are used in select locations for accents and highlights of certain features of the building. So just a little bit of background also, I've been in constant communication with the building inspector, the Board of Health, Conservation Commission, which we've just received informally. We haven't received a formal letter yet, but they approved, gave us a negative determination on the RDA. Also been in constant communication with both the fire chief, the police chief, as well as Kevin Bartlett with the DPW. And informally, I've been told that they're all willing right now to sign off on the project. Of course, that would be something that the planning board would be expecting formal sign off on. Regarding the schedule of the project, we currently have a geothermal bid package up to bid right now. Bids are due February 14th, I believe, so next Friday. On March 5th, there would be, we're expecting to release an early site bid package. On May 21st of this year, we expect to release a steel and concrete early bid package. And the rest of the trades will be going out to bid on July 23rd. The students are expected right now to be able to move into the building in August of 2027. And a year after, once the new school is built, they will be completing the athletic fields and the rest of the park. That's in late 2028, so a year after the school opens.
And let's start quickly with the existing site. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. Existing high school, existing middle school, the two parking lot, Route 110 here. We're proposing to demolish the existing school and build a new one on the current site. This is the proposed plan. The existing school is in this location here, so we could build the new school adjacent to it. New play fields in the location of the existing parking. The proposed the existing driveway will remain at this location with cars and buses entering site and circulating bus drop off occurring at the front of the school and a parent drop off going around the school and exiting out back onto West Boylston Street. New parking lots, about 124 parking spaces located in this area here. And new play fields of where the existing parking is now. And new play facilities over on the east side of the site. There is a small wetland area to the northeast of the site. Peter did mention range conservation, got a negative determination that we are not impacting wetlands at all. The reservoirs just out on the site of the Boston working with DEP to make sure we are not in any of their resource areas as well. Move on to present facilities. You want to name one of the region's big features?
I'd just like to point out that the geothermal well system is planning to be located right here. It's about 64 wells that will be drilled 500 feet. And this is the 3-court basketball.
So the proposed site utilities are shown on this diagram here. The dark purple you see are the stormwater systems, a large below grade stormwater system under the play fields, discharged to the existing service basin that you see off the edge of West Boylston Street. Some smaller below grade systems in the parking area and bus drop off. Some small surface basins off the edge of the parent drop off and along the edge of the driveway. The water loop, we're proposing to loop the water service through the site from West Boylston Street out over to South Main Street and connect to the main that comes from the high school as well. Electrical service will come from the pole that is in the utility corridor, the poles that surround the east and south of the site. Sewer service currently comes from the high school through the site. We'll reroute part of it and route the sewer from the proposed school to the loaded dock area, which is at the south end of the site, around the school, and then out where it goes out down. There is no gas service proposed. And then.
The new building's not gonna have any gas at all?
No, the building is fully electric.
Taxpayers are going nuts.
Wow. Yeah, when you're not paying the bill. How big is the generator gonna be in that building? The backup generator?
Approximately 900 kilowatt.
Okay.
The generator is located back here. This is the service area, all the trash and loading, unloading, deliveries all happen, loading up in this area. All the service vehicles will come back here. There's emergency access out, out here. This is emergency only, will not be used regularly.
Will there be a gate there?
There is a gate. That's
There's full 360-degree access road around the entire building.
You can see that better on the color. Let's see, who wants to talk specific utilities, stormwater? Everything's designed to meet and exceed the local and state standards. We did receive a peer review letter.
Did you get the peer, that's what my next question. Did you get the peer review from?
We did, and we answered, we provided our responses within 2 weeks.
I have a copy of it here as well.
We got it here.
Read it. And some extra plans, I believe, and were promised to you. There are some copies of theirs.
Perfect, thank you.
And I believe this is the construction management. Oh, don't, trying to go as soon as I'm just.
Any questions from members of the board? Tom,
No, right, just.
Douglas?
Well, I'm not happy with the all electric, obviously.
Yeah. John?
God bless the taxpayers.
Yeah. Dale?
I got a few. I did see that there's an extensive erosion control plan in place. Except for, I think we missed a big one, which would be the wind and dust driven. I think we want to see a detailed plan on how they would handle that, so the neighbors up there aren't getting bathed in dirt all for a year and a half.
What, from
Including
the neighbors over
on the hill.
The Dyke
Yeah,
Drive side?
on the windward side, yeah.
Okay.
I also, and in that plan, it should be a fairly detailed plan like the rest of their erosion control plan, and I think they should have materials on site to combat the dust and the erosion control on the stockpiles, on the open ground from the day they put their office trailer in till the day they pull it out. That's one little thing. What's the plan for the use of South Main Street for access? Do you have a construction schedule yet?
I'm sorry,
A
Steve.
construction schedule yet? Do we have one?
We have, through the chair, we do have a construction schedule. They do plan on they being the construction manager, Fontaine Brothers, plans on mobilizing on the site the day after the students are out at the end of this school year.
All right.
Construction is estimated to take 2 years, so August of 27 is when the kids will be able to move in.
And I'm guessing that they're planning on using South Main Street. I don't think this board should let that happen because the neighbors have been through enough up there. Huh?
Through the chair, that is incorrect.
Okay.
There is no.
We're gonna be coming in from West Boylston Street,
They will be coming in from Route 110.
110.
Okay.
There may, I'm not gonna say never, there may be 1 or 2 instances.
Yeah, they're gonna have to get up the road and
during
get the water and get all that. Yeah. incidental
that
stuff.
it may happen, but it is not in the intent in any way, shape, or form that that's going to be used consistently during construction. That was actually discussed thoroughly during one of the all.
I would have bet. Yeah. Okay.
That should be in Fontaine's logistics plans too, that I just handed to you.
Site security plan, I'd like to see that. And a site plan that actually shows staging area, where the equipment's gonna be staged, where materials are gonna be staged, where the parking, the help's gonna be staged. Separate from the kids that are in school there. I'd like to see all that. For the chair.
Yes.
And that's all I really came up with the first go around. But the wind erosion, the wind control, dust control up there is gonna be key. And I think that has to be addressed before you start and make sure there's a plan in place, so we're not having 3 days of wind and then on the Monday we decide to do something. I think it needs to be in place, so if we're gonna get wind, it's handled. And I think we should see a construction schedule. I mean, not a detailed one, not a working schedule like you guys would use, but a rough construction schedule. And how that site would change through that schedule, just so we have an idea. The only other, back to erosion control. I think it should be put in place that there is a wash for the undercarriage of trucks and stuff coming in and out of there on it.
Oh, corn, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Wash, wheels, tires, frame. So we're not listening to every taxpayer in town bitching about the dirt road being dusty and dirty. And if you give me a few more minutes, I'll come up with some more, but I'll leave it there for now.
We'll open up. Any comments from members of the public?
I have a comment.
Just to state your name and your address, please.
Nancy Coolis, 2 Dyke Drive, over off of South Main Street. I'm really concerned about where that entrance is going to be. Back in May, we were told, I believe it was going to be down where the ball field is, the small ball field is, or was.
Why don't you come down and they can show you right on the map?
Where's South Main Street?
Main Street.
Okay, and where is the entrance going to be?
The entrance is going to be the
The main entrance, but the entrance.
Emergency entrance, emergency
So that
entrance.
would be an emergency entrance.
That's what she's asking.
Where is that?
This is South Main Street, so it's right where, it's basically where the fence is right now. There's a gate there that's never used. It's where it is right now.
When you look in the plans, this property line here, it shows McNally's home here. Within those property lines, it also shows Ray Bevilacqua. It also shows the Newtons. It also shows the Kerrigans. What's gonna happen here?
Nothing is happening here. Nothing in this area. See this red line? That is the limit of work.
Okay, so this right here, is this on the cul-de-sac for Dyke Drive? Is it the first cul-de-sac, the start of it, or the end of it?
It's right next to Mary's house,
Is it?
right and straight up, yeah.
Is it? Because when I was told it was coming right up to the first part.
No, it's right, coming right down the hill, yep, straight away.
And is that going to become a drop off for people to drop off the kids, and things like that? I know you're saying no,
Well, that'd be up to the school department to handle that if they started that crap.
but this here,
Right.
this whole area
It's
here,
not.
there were rumors going around that houses were gonna be taken by eminent domain. I'm here to just find out what really is going on in that section.
Sure, I understand. Thank you for your questions. There are no houses to be taken by it. Just want to clarify that. Second thing is regarding the student and parent drop-off. It's going to be much improved than what's there now. This entire access road will become the parent drop-off and pickup. So it's completely contained.
So who will be using this emergency entrance?
No, there's going to be a gate here.
Okay.
Ambulance.
Would be probably public safety, fire department, police department, emergency stuff.
That's what they said, and but they weren't sure exactly where it was on South Main Street. What about that area over on South Main Street? It's a mess. It's an absolute mess, the wooded area there. So the schools probably,
Yeah, there's also some drainage and
Yes.
wetlands we were to not touch.
right, okay. Is that true that that drainage area was something where the dike ever breached? We were told that years and years ago, we've been living there for 40-some odd years. But that is where the gate is now, closest to the entrance to the reservoir, that's where the entrance will be.
In an approximate location, yes. Yeah. There's also a fire hydrant over there, I believe.
Yes, there's one over there, but there's one down here as well, very, very close to. I can't tell if this is the beginning or the end. I know this entrance here. You're telling me where it is, but it's, It's hard to see there. If it comes this way, if it's this one here, it's at the end of the Dyke Drive. If it's over here, it's at the beginning of Dyke Drive, which is my front yard.
If what is the fire hydrant?
No, the entrance, but you're saying it now.
It's definitely against the fence.
Yes. Because there is a fence that goes along the whole property behind there. Now, okay, thank you.
Any other, anybody else public comment? Okay. I guess you get our list of stuff that we'd like to see, so, if you can address those issues and we'll see you next month.
We'll turn our immediate attention to it.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you very much.
All right. With that being said, site plan review, Farrier Realty Trust, continuation from January 7th, 625 Main Street and 13-15 Water Street.
This is on there. Go back and in the school, I had no idea. Give me a cool guy. Can you talk to us about that?
Sir,
Stephen Philbin, I represent the owner of 625 Main Street and the adjacent Water Street. This is a historic building. It's the Swift Building or Swift Premium, originally established in the town of Clinton. Originally, their location was in the Clinton Bank parking lot. They operated in Clinton from 1869 to 1891. In 1892, they reestablished, they were beyond that. They moved to a new location at 625 Main Street when they built the existing building that's there, which has been an underused building for many, many, many years, with a number of additions on the back. In addition to that, this plan will cover what used to be Red McNally's Lounge, if you all remember back then, or at the Brennan Restaurant, the Ferns, and it's been pretty much an eyesore ever since. The proposal is to establish in the second and the third floor of the Swift Building at 625 Main Street, 7 apartments. And on the Water Street side, as phase 2 of this project, there'll be an additional 14 units, with the first floor being commercial in both locations. Chris Anderson of Hannigan Engineering is here to make the presentation to the planning board. Chris, if you could start.
For the record, Chris Anderson with Hannigan Engineering. So as Mr. Philbin just reviewed, we're here for tonight for the conversion of an existing mill structure to be a mixed-use development. Currently, the property does contain a existing structure with 2 primary components of the building, if you will. One being the historic mill component, which is defined as the brick portion of the structure. And on top of that, there's been various additions of prefab steel structures going towards the rear portion of the site, if you were to go face from Water Street, or Main Street, sorry. As was stated, it's the intent to redevelop the mill building to incorporate a first level of commercial space with subsequent residential apartments in the second and third floors. As part of this construction, it's the intent to maintain the mill structure itself and demolish the existing steel structure with the foundation wall that's immediately adjacent to the railroad system to remain intact. From there, access and parking improvements will be provided. The entryway is intended to be maintained off of the existing entryway along Main Street. The driveway will extend into the development and provide access to the various parking facilities within the property. Part of this project, the intent to construct it in 2 phases. The initial phase would be effectively getting the mill building up and running and getting all utility and other such improvements intact. The second phase would obviously be the construction of the second newer building along Water Street, along with the subsequent parking associated with that. As part of the overall redesign of the site, we are providing for additional landscaping areas with a general decrease in impervious area over this addition to help offset the impacts from stormwater management perspective, as well as providing additional green space on the. I should note, just relative to stormwater management and stormwater impacts, you're looking at approximately a reduction of about 3,700 square feet, which on this proposed, on the existing lot, is about 16%. So it's a decent drop in impervious area, if you will. The stormwater will be captured by deep sump catch basins and directed towards a water quality unit prior to discharge into its municipal system. Sewer and water are expected to be maintained. Their existing connections, review with DPW will be made just to confirm that those connections are still up to speed with current requirements of maintained. That being said, that's the general gist of the projects. If there's any questions from the board, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Correct me if I'm wrong, you're planning on keeping the original brick building, correct? And you're tearing down all the block building out back?
Yes.
Okay, and that will give you enough parking space and storage for snow and stuff like that? With all the additional housing you're gonna build on Water Street too?
Yes. So the parking for the actual development will actually be kind of sucked inside the building, if you will. And we're maintaining that existing foundation wall along the back and backfilling it with clean dirt to stabilize it. So effectively it becomes just a slope. But the parking would be effectively set inside that area.
Where the block buildings are now? So all the block buildings will be down, it'll be just the original brick building
Yes,
on phase 1.
yes, with the noted exception that the foundation will remain intact against the road for obvious reasons.
All the traffic, there'll be no traffic exiting on Water Street, they'll all come out onto Main Street?
Correct. It's the intent to maintain the entryway along Main Street, so we're not creating any additional curb cuts along the.
Could be a nightmare down, exactly.
There's no path through Water Street for for entrance and exit. Entrance or exit, nothing off Water Street.
No vehicular access now. It'd be just purely.
You're gonna make a jam up there without having some exit on Water Street. That intersection's bad enough as it is. If everybody's gonna be,
How many apartments in total?
A total of 21 parking spaces.
So we got parking for only the residential units. They're providing none for the commercial, but they're relying on the municipal lot. How many spots are in the municipal lot?
I don't have that number off the top.
Okay, so you're gonna have to come back next month and tell me that, and then explain how that interferes with your parking plan here.
I see you're gonna be putting an elevator in the brick building,
Correct.
so you're gonna use stairs, there's stairs on both going up the front and on the side still?
So the stairwell in the front of the building facing Main Street will remain intact.
Yeah.
Interior work will have to be done inside the structure to create a landing area or a level pad at the elevation of the parking area outside, and then the elevator system will go up from there.
What's the square footage of the proposed building? 4,400 square feet.
So the second building would be gross floor area, or one floor level area would be approximately 4,400 square feet.
And the building on Water Street be wood framed?
That's to be determined. So the initial phase is to try to get the mill building up and running. We would come back before the board with final architectural plans for the second phase for that structure to make sure it falls in line with the town's desire for various purposes. Most likely not, though, it would probably be wood.
What's the footprint of that existing building? I don't have.
So the net area is approximately 3,600 square feet.
I think there's gonna be some issues with pulling on a main street. You might want to try to come up with an ulterior plan for exiting the water.
Exiting on Water Street?
Yeah.
And if they do that, that kind of changes the location of that second building that they want to
Right.
put in, and plus
It is what it is.
the new sidewalk too.
So they're going on the road anyway for a water, aren't they, somewhere? You going into Water Street for water for that building? Yeah, they would have to go on Water Street. I mean, they're going into the
Yeah.
street anyway. Maybe. These are the only items I have right now.
Tom, anything?
I was asking, do you have the canine place that's there now on that, are they gonna be staying there?
I don't think it's been decided, but we're putting on the second and the third floor, we're putting studio apartments.
I'm looking at that.
I don't think it's.
But I didn't, what I
work.
asked you if, where they're at now, where they pull in right there to drop off all their pets.
Pets and things.
Yeah, that's,
I don't think they work together, the apartments and the dogs. It's not, I don't think it's gonna work. I think there has to be a different commercial space.
all right, so they gotta be out. So you don't have.
I think it
that.
makes sense to me, but it's up to the owner in terms of, I think there's a higher use for the first floor than what's it called, doggy daycare or
Well,
something?
I've seen a number of people dropping them off, and I wanna know if it's still gonna be there. If it's not, then it's altogether different.
Oh, or not.
Right,
Depends. That's the friggin' cliffhanger. You don't know what's gonna go in there.
right. So,
That's why we gotta be on the parking. And just because it's public parking across does not mean that the percentage of use has to be
you
there.
got the Verizon building, and then you got people trying to drop them off,
Yeah,
their pets back up, trying to get out of there. And
Yep.
it's crazy. I've done it.
It's tough in the mortgage.
I know.
John,
We'll figure that out. when
Questions?
We come to it, I guess.
Seems like a better alternate plan for the parking, definitely the parking and the exit.
Douglas?
Same thing.
Any comments from the public? I think you know what you're gonna look and work on, I guess.
So it'll be parking and a possible exit onto, entrance onto Water Street?
Yeah.
Traffic in that area is a nightmare, absolute nightmare with the lights.
No, and I think we've had this conversation with somebody that just did a project up the street at another one of the intersections, and after a long discussion about intersections in town and that part, both those intersections were graded F from the state, so I'm wondering if that intersection down there is an F too.
Right.
You know, I mean, have you guys done a traffic study? Have you done any kind of,
Not formally at this point, no.
okay. Think that might be something to look into. It's definitely congested down there. It's congested part. I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb. I can't speak for anybody else. I think what you want to do with the brick building down there, I think it's great. It's been a building as long as I can remember as a kid growing up. It's always looked the same, and I got some potential down there, and I think it would look great if you guys did some work down there and, maybe put those apartments in. I'm not in favor of that second building going in down there just because it's gonna make it too congested. So that's how I feel. So,
I think that's the feeling of the board.
And I think, with tearing the buildings down in the back, that'll help you. It'll make things look a little bit better, but I think the 7 units that you want to put in the building and then pushing forward to that second building off of Water Street with 14 units plus a commercial thing, that's a lot. And
Question.
I don't know. That's how I feel, so.
Is it the board, considering that the commercial space, that's where the traffic could be generated, whereas the residential, that's where people are coming, they leave to go to work and they come back at a certain time. So it's not as much traffic.
Well, commercial space can go.
You can go either way. It depends what you put in there. I mean, if you put another Dunkin' Donuts in there, of course you're gonna have a lot of traffic. It all depends on whatever you get in there, you know what I mean?
So it's not so much we're against residential, commercial.
No,
No.
Or the intensity.
or the intensity, it's just. Excuse me.
Work on that traffic flow, man.
Traffic in the parking.
We've got some work to do. Could we request that this matter be continued to the March meeting?
Yes. All right, see you in March.
Thank you very much for your time.
Good luck. All right, with that being said, the site plan review special permit for Yanling Zhang, 119 Chestnut Street. It wasn't, so.
This one would be Chestnut.
That's why it's supposed to be on, right?
Camry.
So my name is Donald O'Neill. I'm a lawyer in Worcester. I'm here this evening on behalf of Rebecca Zhang. And also with us this evening is a representative from the Above the Rim Training Program, which is a youth program here in town. We are looking to get permission to rent space in the former Armory building
Okay,
to the Above the Rim Training Program. They have been operating out of St. John's gym for, I guess, about 3 years. And they, due to some things that are going on with the church, they are looking for a new location. And we have, in the Armory building, there's a gym basically on the first floor. That's pretty much what's there. And this will be an ideal location for them. The church is still very much supportive of the program.
really?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
To the extent that they have, they would like them to find a new location, but the issue that we have primarily with this building is parking. And they have ample parking available at the church that, they're not using. And certainly wouldn't be using at a period of time when the program would be in operation. They have actually, I have something from the church.
okay, is it in the package? Or is it just,
It's not.
It's not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it a
It's
lease
the parking
for the parking?
space.
I can summarize it for you, but it's just, basically says that they, are supportive of the program and that they would make available, for use by way of a lease for up to 4 years, up to 20 spaces of their parking. That would be, it's right next to the property. We had, I'll give you a chance to read that. The same thing, it's just multiple copies. So another issue that I wanted to talk to you about as well is, my client had completed the application and submitted it to the board. At the time that she did it, she paid a deposit for peer review
Mm-hmm.
of the plans. And I believe that deposit was $3,000. And she was recently told that they would need another $2,850 for a total of close to $6,000 to review the site plan,
Okay.
which is one page, shows 11 parking spaces. It seems very high, as high as I've ever heard in 40 years of practice as a lawyer. And I don't know how possibly somebody could come up with a figure of $6,000 to review that. But if you get a chance to look at the plan and you agree with me that that's a reasonable figure for somebody to pay, I'd love to hear it. But
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb, and we've used the same engineering firm for many years, as long as I've been here. And this is probably one of the first times I've ever heard that we've had an applicant question a bill. And to say that, put the $3,000 into the account, well, it probably should have been a little bit more. And whatever, usually how this works, if there's money left over at the end after the project's done, the applicant gets the money back. It's not,
We don't set the rates.
I don't set the rates, that's by the engineering.
well, I mean, if you come with subdivision, do they put like $150,000 down for a review fee?
No, it's not usually not that much.
Well, if, please, just look at the site plan. In all honesty, take a look at it and tell me how anyone could want
I can't.
Well, I would ask you first of all, Mr. Chairman, where do we get the occupancy number?
Pardon me?
The occupancy number for this, where'd that come from? Thin air? An engineer is supposed to look at the space, come up with a total allowable occupancy, and that's the number. Not just because we want to let 30 people.
Review.
What's that?
Is that part of the $6,000 review?
Well, if you're telling us that you're gonna put only 30 people in that gym, we're gonna have to send it to somebody to get an occupancy number. A real one for the space that you're occupying.
Well,
Because if that space allows 150, we need parking for that allowable amount.
May I
well,
interrupt?
if you have, if it had 1 million people, would you need, so even if you're only have a small program with a limited number of kids, if you could fit more in there, you have to provide parking for the people who aren't there?
You would have to, yes,
Okay.
because who's to say when we turn our back that there's not 150 people? I mean, that's the
what's
point.
gonna happen.
That's where we are. That's where so if you want to start off pushing buttons about bills, I'll start pushing buttons about numbers that are in this application.
I'm happy to hear you think that's a reasonable bill.
Yeah.
$6,000
It's not a bill.
to review that.
It's a deposit.
Okay.
So we can go to our engineers to confirm that her numbers are right, which they haven't been since she bought the place.
It would indicate to me that they don't think 3,000 is enough.
Is the property, is it commercial or is it R1?
It's a commercial building.
It's-
Sorry, may I interrupt for a few minutes? I'm wondering if we have to have the plan review anyway, because the reason to have that plan review, because we're trying to create 4 parking space in front of the building. By the way, since the church, right, is supported the program because it's beneficial for the church to got the rain out to supporting the program to run for the town, and also then the 20 parking space it would be sufficient. So we do not really need the structure engineer to review the plan to create 4 additional parking space at this time to approve the occupancy permit to allow the rain to move into the gym, because we need a lot of time to prepare the place available for Scott's program moving, and the church would be available for the town's program. I think that is the whole,
Oh, I think it's a great idea, but.
right. Mhm.
Mr. Chairman, did this already go for a peer review for some other, the first time?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think last time is informal
Yeah,
meeting.
informal.
Yeah, at the time, you recommend me to bring attorney. I appreciate the suggestion. That's why I hire
Right.
also specialists.
It's left in the end. Be full, pretty much. Hello, mailing.
Well, I think there was a bill for $3,000. She put $3,000 in, and that money will go to the engineering.
Through the chair. But we asked Mr. Salmon if this is commercial or an R1, because it's not allowed in an R1.
Mr. Salmon, any cares or concerns on this matter?
Well, we've been here tonight for parking.
Yep.
So I don't know if they applied for a change of use. Because that was used as a business occupancy over there. Indoor recreation in R1 is not allowed, and that's what they're aiming to do over there. So I know it's a continued use for her to be commercial there. But the zoning is R1. So for indoor recreation, you have to get board approval for that.
From the zoning board?
Yes.
But it's not allowed.
Yeah, it's not allowed in that zone, in R1.
So that building, I guess, so we're back to where we were the first time, when you were in here informally.
Right, I think at
That
the
building
time-
can only be used for what it was used for previously. You cannot change the use
I think we're.
unless it's allowed in R1 district.
I think it's not changing the use. It's a commercial building. That's why we got the application in the first time.
Yeah, it holds the status of a commercial building under,
Then what is the meaning for commercial building if you have to restrict as
there's a commercial
residential
building,
use?
general commercial building with a bunch of different occupancy uses under commercial.
It's a commercial building you can't use for commercial purposes. But in any case, the town's taxing it at the value of over $1 million. But there's no use that can be made of it. So the question I guess I have, if we do needs to go to the zoning board first, will save us our $5,800 review to say, oh, and by the way, use not allowed, so that, thank you very much.
So basically, I'm gonna tell the engineering firm, you're out of luck, you're not gonna get paid.
Yeah, but what I wanted to try and find out from you is whether or not the board, because there's limited space available on the property. Probably not enough to support a whole lot going on if, it's building and lot and a little bit of space. We've got a plan that shows like 11 spaces, okay? Well, 11's not gonna get you very much. Is the board, would you consider a situation where you have a lease with an abutting property owner? Long-term lease that's available that would provide parking. And you are issuing a special permit, so you can condition the special permit on, let's say, maintaining a lease, for X number of spaces available for this use. Is that anything that you've done before that you could see yourself looking at? Because otherwise, there's no point really
There's no point pursuing
of
it.
applying for it.
I'm, Mr. Chairman, my opinion, in my humble opinion is that that's great. And yeah, I would definitely entertain trying to do something like that. I think the hurdle is not that. I think the hurdle is in the zoning.
I'm not sure why the zoning become a problem, because at the time when I purchased property, when I applied the first occupancy permit, it already determined that's for commercial use. Now I want to go back, because the last time they have not heard, I had to go to the zoning. I have been told going to the planning board, already taking for half years and a year or now. And I don't know why adding more restriction. It's already been determined, this is commercial use building.
How has it been determined?
I mean, James, can you advise, when I first applied the permit, you was told this building had been discontinued for use for its own usage, and then all of a sudden, after Jeff stepped in and then found out, oh, that's a mistake. Yeah, you have been not in that for 2 years use. It could be used as a commercial building. Why everything changed now? I have been seeing tremendous difficulty from the town. All right, I'm not sure it's trying to force me out of business. I already had to see the cardiology and immunology after dealing with this building and all the hassle from the town. Is it the purpose to force me out of business? And the gentleman sitting here, he have no place to go. He do a non-profit organization to help the kids in the town and surrounding area. And we trying to get the building for him to move in. I would invest tremendous money. Is anything trying to play me and then force me out of business? And the kids not going to where they can go to continue the program? And the church cannot use that to help the benefit for the kids in the town? I don't get it.
Mr. Chair. Do you forget, ma'am, that this board helped you keep that property under commercial office use? Do you remember? It was already near days away from reverting back to residential only. It's awful.
No, it's commercial use. That's why I got
You're awful forgetful.
What?
Forgetful. You're awful forgetful.
I'm
What this
sorry,
board did for you.
I'm not forgot because I got my first occupancy permit. That is not a residential building. It is a residential building.
I think you got your occupancy permit to put in a couple offices, wasn't that?
How can a residential building could allow an office?
I think that it might be semantics.
You think?
Okay. Yeah, I do, actually. I think it's an honest misunderstanding.
I think so too. I do.
Okay, because commercial, with the zoning, what I'm hearing you're saying, and this is news to me, is that it was pre-existing non-conforming use because it was an armory, correct? So it was never used as residential, but it was zoned for residential. And after, unless we're not in the business of doing an armory, so I don't think we could carry on with the armory business. So it would then therefore be a pre-existing non-conforming use, which presumably you would change by special permit to change to another.
It reverts right back to residential after 2 years of non-use. And that's what happened.
So I thought you said you extended it.
We did.
Okay,
And that
then
2 years have gone since then too?
We're going to be on it.
It's pretty close.
that have been granted already.
So you're saying the building should be residential only. That's the only thing to be used for. Well,
All I can tell you is this board is trying to, not being difficult. You bought a difficult piece of property at your own risk.
I'm sorry.
We're trying.
You're trying to reject the decision had been done. The right had been granted. Now you want to coming back 2 years ago.
just let him finish. If he wants to.
No, it's difficult for everybody. I think it's a difficult building. There's a reason why nobody bid on it. It's
I'm sorry. If you want to talk about this story, I can tell the whole story.
we don't
Okay.
need the whole story. We've already heard the whole story many times.
I think go to zoning, if they could give her the recreational,
I mean, for the parking from the church, as one member of the board, I have no problem granting that waiver.
But you gotta have a lease. You gotta have.
You gotta have a lease, you gotta have something.
And you wanna just end it 4 years. You gotta probably get a, what,
I mean,
how many years? for the priest to be able to do it. Because he'd sell that place right out from underneath you, if he could.
Well, if you have a lease in place, at least whoever bought it.
Yep.
Maybe the town would have to recognize the lease. Okay, so
That's
I don't
what
think, I think
That's what you think.
that's not an obstacle, it's a way around that. You know, this is a good use too, that's proposed. It's a gym, you know, what else do you do with a gym? So I think it's perfect, it's perfect for the tenant, it's good for us, I think it's really good for everybody, but we gotta figure out a way to get in there, and part of the reason I wanted to come tonight is just to see this idea that if we don't have enough parking on the property, which we probably don't.
Which you don't.
Right? I could figure that out myself without spending $6,000 on it.
You know, and
But-
I think one of the biggest things with the parking up there is you're gonna have a program, you're gonna have kids being dropped off and on, getting picked up. It's not a very safe spot up there. It's a high traffic area. You've got traffic coming this way, you got traffic coming this way, you got going that way. You know, it's a very busy place. And, you know, if I was dropping my kids off, I think I'd be concerned about that.
Yeah.
So it's something to look at and something.
Well, clearly having more land to work with, you know, basically existing parking spaces would, I think, simplify this.
So
Question.
just as a side note, the existing use, I think me and the building inspector agree, is the business office use, commercial business office use. That was the continuing business use of that building. Okay, which requires one space for every 300 square feet. Okay. We're now looking to do an indoor commercial recreation, which requires one space for every 3 persons. Okay. So that is the change of use from commercial change of use from commercial business office to commercial indoor recreation is the change of use.
1 per 3 people.
Yes, but keep that out of the equation. That change of use happens. You heard from the chairman, he's all set on board with your plan with the lease. I would be on board with that plan with the lease.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out I don't want to go through all that effort, obviously, if you want to go through that effort. To run into fine, you change the zoning, but you know what, you don't have the parking on the lot, so we're not gonna approve it.
Yeah.
But
It's in there, one deal, it's not mine.
this,
It's not our job.
I just wanted, Adam, do you have anything to say about this?
No, I mean, I think you took the long route, but I think you got to where you need to be. I mean, the issue here is the sole matter before this board is the parking question.
Yeah.
And so the wise thing to do not to make a decision tonight on the parking question, I don't think you're going through anyway, until you know whether the change of use has been permitted. The conversation's been started. I've heard from a couple members of the board that there's an avenue to relief. I agree, your bylaw provides an avenue to relief. It's discretionary, you don't have to grant it, but you can grant waivers, you can allow parking off-site. Doesn't need to be a long-term lease. That lease will be a condition of any approval you issue. So it's not just that if the lot got sold that's subject to the lease that you would be guaranteed that the new owner would have to honor the lease. Even if they don't, if they choose not to honor the lease, well, the special permit then becomes void and the use has to stop. So there are protections that we can build into a permit that this board would issue. But that's a moot if the zoning board of appeals doesn't grant a non-conformity special permit. First, they've got to determine that the non-conforming use hasn't been abandoned for a period of 2 years or more. Sounds like it hasn't, but that's not your call or my call. That's the building inspector's call and the ZBA's call. And then once they make that determination, they have to grant a discretionary special permit by supermajority vote to determine that the change from one non-conforming use to another non-conforming use is consistent with the neighborhood and is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing use. That's a judgment call for the ZBA. Once they make that call, it can come right back to you. You can grant the special permit for the parking and the applicant can be off to the races. But the ZBA really has far more discretion here.
Good.
Awesome, thanks.
Clear enough?
sounds like a plan.
May I have a question? Because this is a formal hearing, but from the prior, two hearing and also, Jim's always in the hearing and I have tremendous communication with him. And he had been telling me, the only requirement come to the planning board because it's a change of occupancy. And I'm just so interested to know why tonight, when we go to the formal hearing, it will become the question of change of use. This is the first time I hear that in the past 1 year. And also, yeah, and also, I know we have some, probably the bill question, making everyone not so comfortable. But, one thing I would like to know, because we initially scheduled the hearing was, January 7th. And I was submitting the deposit at the beginning of December. So, giving we actually presented, all of us presented here on January 7th, supposed to have like the hearing or decision for the board.
We didn't have
members.
enough people for a hearing.
I understand. So please let me, allow me to finish. But we all know when we were there present, so meaning all the process, the paperwork that we were supposed to be done on January 7th, but it has not been done. And then, in the middle of January, I just worry because I have been seeing so many weird things happening here, in the town when I do everything. So I called the planning board and, Lourdes was so nice to help me to ask the engineer company, twice. And then the second time they would tell me, oopsie, the money's not enough. That was like 20 something. It's just not about 10 days before the hearing, tonight's hearing. That's the reason I'm a real estate agent, have been in this business for 18 years. I'm not questioning the capability of that company, but it's just not professional enough. It already passed the deadline and has not been done. And when we had to twice attempt to ask them, and they told us money's not enough. I have been in the business for 18 years. I never see this happen. And I also asked the help from the building department, and the same thing. Like she had been dealing with this company for a long time, and she's trying to help me to ask, can you break down what's for the charge? Because 4 parking space to charge $6,000. I would like to know. Ultimately, me, I'm the person writing my check. I had to know why. Because like in our mind, proper just like few hours review
Okay,
process.
well, here's what we could do.
Okay,
And I can request to the engineering company that they break down their bill and go in line item and say, hey, this is, we had so many hours doing this, so many hours doing this, this is what it is, and we'll come up with the grand total, because I'm sure in their end of it, they have to come up with they don't still say, hey, take a number and put it on the dartboard and throw a dart at it and say, well, that's the price.
yeah.
I'm sure they have a formula that they work, and I'm sure they think for transparency, so everybody's
Yes,
happy.
that's all I
Let's
asked.
do that. We'll try to have that for the next
I
meeting.
appreciate, that's all I have.
That's
asked.
fine.
Yeah, so she helped me
That's
to,
fair.
yeah, because she asked me to ask the engineer. He said, oh, I'm going to retire, and she passed along to the new person. I guess probably there's a new person did not know about the deadline, passed one and twice, and did not know how much going to charge.
Well,
Probably a
I
mistake.
think that's fair that there'll be an explanation of it. That's the best I can do.
Can we, I'm not sure how long to continue it, but can we request a continuance to give us time to check this out, get to
Till
the
next
zoning
month.
board if we need to?
Yeah.
Yeah, which I
March 7th.
believe that we do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Make a motion.
Aye.
All in favor?
Okay.
See you next month.
Yeah. And do you
Thanks,
want,
guys.
would you just, you want to just carry it forward or how?
Well,
if you're not ready.
if you're not ready for the next meeting,
Yeah.
just send us a letter saying, hey, we need more time. We'll see you in April.
Okay. All
Is
right.
that fair enough?
Yeah, and it'll give me time to figure out schedule.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, with that being said, got a couple informals. Marco Camacho, 20 Cameron Street. Oh. Marco, anybody? Who's here? Megan Downing? Thank you.
See, Adam.
Scaring off my buyers after the last one.
Buyer beware.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm Megan Downing. I'm sure you're familiar with Nancy already.
All right, you guys are familiar with this lot too. This is my lot on Woodruff. That I've come before you and gone with you.
Where are we?
This lot right here.
Yeah.
So this is the way coming in. Megan and her husband are invested in purchasing it, and they want to know what they can do. Basically, what we do.
I've already, I did draft an email to Jim just to try to get some preliminary thoughts, and then we were deferred here to see what you guys thought.
All right.
I'm a local architect actually, so I did start a zoning analysis just to try to get familiar with it, but we'll see what you guys think.
Where are we over there, Nancy? R2?
Yep.
So I sold it saying it's big enough that you could fit a duplex on here.
Yeah.
I think they just want to make sure that they could at least put a duplex on it. So now Megan was looking into some.
Is this right away go across your driveway coming in here?
This is the driveway. This one goes to what used to be my son's house.
Yeah.
And then, but it's basically one drive.
Okay, this driveway goes across an easement?
It's a utility easement.
Yeah, through water or something, sewer, or something.
It's a sewer line.
Yeah.
I mean, our understanding is that with the 59,000 square feet here, if we're looking at the multifamily zoning, it's 36,000 square feet for 3 units plus 9,000 square feet for a fourth and every additional. So based on just the square footage, it looks like we could fit 5, but I figured that would probably be too much.
There's no frontage.
So there's 15 feet of frontage.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
And that was,
It's no.
no.
You know, this is only a board, my opinion, John's opinion, Doug's opinion.
Yep.
You should really have an engineer look at this. They know the ins and outs of what you can do, what you can't do.
Yep.
You know, and I'm not gonna go out and say, hey, you know, this is what you can do, and then you turn around, you can't do it, and you turn around and sue me.
No, I've gone that route and basically.
And you've probably gotten 3 different answers from 3 different people,
Basically,
right?
this could be a duplex lot, but what I was coming to you initially for, and I just want to know if this is still on the table, of dividing it, either putting maybe a duplex or making this 2 lots now, because you can do, on a common driveway, you can do up to 3 houses. This is the whole area of Woodruff, and it's the yellow one, so you can see how much bigger it is than everything obviously up there.
It was.
So I think at the very least, they would like to be able, cost-wise, to be able to either divide the lot up in 2, and that's what we've had the conversation before. You had said, you know, that could be an A
And
and R.
put two single family
Put
lots?
single families on there.
How wide is the access road? No matter how you do it, it's gotta go subdivision control. Yeah, no matter how you do it, it's gotta be subdivision control. There's no frontage.
But the last time I was here, you said I could do an A and R plan with 2 lots.
It's 15 feet the road.
And
Yep.
no, it's 2 of them are 15, but basically.
You can't count both of them.
Well, it's paved in the middle of them. So it's 30.
It's definitely an engineer. It's a nightmare.
I mean, it all comes down to the zoning bylaws, right?
Right, zoning bylaws tell you it's
So I'm not sure,
subdivision
like,
control.
if setback seems to be the, or not setback, if frontage seems to be the issue, would we then bring this to the zoning board as an informal to see what happens there, or?
I've been,
Okay.
basically, they said the same
Same
you guys
thing.
did. Just, it's to an A and R plan. Obviously, I came because I was gonna divide it up into 2 lots, sell them as 2.
How does doing an A&R help you with the frontage? It's still subdivision control.
Why is it subdivision up? If you're looking at it as a common driveway,
You can put up to 3 houses on a common driveway, 3 lots.
Red lot.
At most, 3 lots can be connected, or otherwise you'll send access to.
Yeah, but they have to have the frontage. They don't have to have the driveway through the frontage. They have to
So-
have the frontage.
What if we went the route of either hammerhead lot zoning or flexible development? Does that give us any leeway with the frontage
That might
requirements?
be the direction. And then
Because what
That
I
would be
looked
the-
at with the hammerhead lot, that brings the frontage requirement from 115 down to 35. So that already gives some flexibility. But if we go with flexible development path, there's no distinct number in the zoning bylaws.
Yeah, special permit, yeah.
So that's why bringing this to you felt like the right opportunity to try to figure out where our leeway was with that frontage.
Let me stand back from the way I would friggin' try to do it.
So then the majority of the houses up there, single family?
Yes.
Well, this, you know what, most here put a bunch of duplexes in around.
Down in that new project.
Yeah. So there's some duplexes up there too.
Yeah, but then they made them,
I was gonna do a duplex there, but then myself and Peter own it together, my brother Peter, so we were gonna just divide it up into 2 lots at that point. And I mean, I've held on to this for 25 years. Spent like 50 grand in taxes on it, so I just wanna get rid of it.
This is one going up the hill to the left, right? Out in the back, yeah.
I mean, ideally, at minimum, we would like to build a duplex there. If it has to be 2 single families, that's of course we would still consider it. But with the flexible development section, we just wanted to know what your thoughts were and if there was other opportunity on the lot.
If you build a duplex, you can live there? Is it gonna be for yourself or?
you don't have to get into fire sprinklers if we keep it slow though. I don't know.
Well, no matter what, zoning has to have say in this. And we prefer zoning to have their say before we have our say.
I've been there. They said, just go, just you bring it.
Do
to
an
the
A&R?
building- Yeah. Just bring it to the building inspector. I think you were there, Jim, when I went to zoning, about 2 years ago.
Well, maybe 3 years.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah, but an A&R doesn't help that lot. You still have to come up with a solution to the no.
So who makes the flexible development decisions? That's planning board, right?
But you gotta come with a set of, you gotta.
You're gonna spend some money on some
Yeah,
plans,
support
you
and
know?
having an
Well, I mean,
engineer do it and come
I'm
sell
an
it.
architect. I can handle the soft costs in-house. We don't have to reach out to somebody for that. As long as we have a survey, then we
I
can.
think that would probably be your best bet. It would probably be more bulletproof
Mhm.
if you did it that way. Came in.
So but basically, this is all set to put a duplex on as it is. I mean, it's been signed, it's divided up to 2 lots.
Yeah, but you, yeah, just
There's
because,
no reason why you can't get a building permit in a
there,
duplex tomorrow.
yeah, there sure is. There's no, because there's no frontage. You can A&R and split lots all you want. You can make them 17 lots. Still doesn't matter. There's no frontage for 2. There's no frontage for 1. There's no frontage for 17.
There's this frontage.
It doesn't.
It doesn't,
not enough.
the 15 doesn't satisfy the minimum per zoning code.
Yeah, no.
Which is why we thought the flexible development might be our best course of action, since there was no frontage requirement set for that yet.
The 15 satisfied the common driveway.
At least she's going down the right road.
Okay, so have there been other projects in Clinton that went the flexible development path that you're aware of?
Hmm.
Anything that we could use as a precedent, something we could
Isn't
refer
that
to?
Off of Oak Street Flex.
Up at the Holy Rosary.
Oh. Lucius up on the hill, Buffton Farm.
Buffton Farms,
You were on the board for that one.
But nothing of a special permit. Has any, just because it's done one place, doesn't mean it has to be done another place.
Mhm.
There's, you know,
But I think that was a flex.
everyone is
'Cause there was no-
individually voted on.
Zero.
Not what happened to the
road
last one.
Was all, that was,
That's all that there was.
that's all they had for frontage. They created frontage. Yeah, Buffton Farm is a flex.
Okay, so
Got a regular road going into it.
If
Yeah,
we-
but that's all they have for frontage for that property.
If we went that route, what would you like to see from us?
That's a question your engineer's gonna tell you.
But
Cause
in-
there's gonna be requirements of open space.
Owns that
Um,
15 feet. Is that your self-conscious stage, Joe?
The 15 feet.
I mean,
is not by
the zoning bylaws for a flexible development section pretty much just refer us to you guys.
I said that right here. This
And you
has been
can-
done for years. This wasn't.
Make it more palatable by.
Well, you're saying on a common driveway, you can have up to
Oh,
three.
yeah, of course.
So,
Landscaping, might have to put, you know, I don't know about detention pond.
How many square feet was that full piece?
59,000.
This is the way coming in. This comes to here.
There's actually another parcel we have in question that I figured we're probably gonna have to go down the same path with.
If you're, unless you're only gonna build a good sized duplex back there, then maybe hammering it lot. You know, you've gotta sit down and really,
Gary,
I don't know how I do it.
it's cool.
I do flex, so I wanted to put.
Changed, we use,
Another, I have to,
but there were always two lots here.
might be, might have been flex.
Okay.
Just two lots.
But there's no reason not to get a building permit on a duplex right away, dear.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know what you're talking about. This has always been a part of the way coming in.
Yeah, but
Look at it. The only reason this plan was changed is because I gave Gary Landline this land, his swimming pool.
Yeah.
So basically, this went to this house and this one went to this house. It's
Before
been like that for
1978?
Years, huh?
Before 1978?
This was just signed in 2016.
Yeah, so I guess, Nance, what I'm saying is you can come back to us tonight and subdivide that some more and we'll sign it. We can't not sign an A&R. But because we sign it, doesn't make it a legal lot.
Or what? So you're saying she should go get a special permit to do it or just put in, but it's a legal lot for a duplex. It's big enough for a duplex.
Missing, except for one key component.
It's got the frontage. It's got the frontage on Woodruff. For a common driveway, a
it
common
has-
driveway needs 12 feet of frontage. Huh?
You can keep telling me that all day long. I'm still not gonna believe it.
So the frontage exists. It has access to the road.
Access
But
driveway service width of at least 12 feet.
that's for just the driveway alone. The frontage itself, which I'm sure you understand is technically a different term, which is the dimension on which the lot touches the road.
Yeah.
Typical is 115 for a regular lot. For a hammerhead, it's 35. For a flexible development, there is no number. It's
Right.
up to the planning board to decide.
And the way that usually has been handled, I think, here is if the development was suited the neighborhood and bettered the neighborhood, it was usually an
Wasn't
easy
a detriment.
qualifier.
Mm-hmm.
Usually.
Okay, so would you accept another informal conversation if we put together a little site plan that satisfied flexible development criteria?
Sure.
Or, I don't want to complicate things, but
No, there's no reason to complicate.
We only charge $200 an hour.
At this point.
well, there is a second lot that we have in question. Pretty much the same exact conversation. We assume we'll have to go the flexible development route. This one is off of Lindbergh. Technically, the lot is 190R Berlin Street.
Yep, I know where it is.
Yep. So this is Lindbergh right here. This small lot connects to the larger one in the middle of the neighborhood. And then there's a potential of acquiring the additional 5 that have frontage.
Ooh.
And we're wondering if we were to connect all of these together, what are the chances we could build something a little bit larger than the other parcel?
Well, that would solve your problem with the frontage, right?
Of course, this one, yeah, this one has a lot of frontage.
That's an easy one to fix by doing that, but the problem with that one is gonna be the neighbors torturing the hell out of us for 2 months. You know, but they got the right
Well,
to.
then again, they were going for multi-units. If they go for single family, maybe.
Yeah, right,
you
right.
know, maybe they won't be as.
With the other parcel?
We've had recently a situation where somebody came in.
Nearby.
Yeah, it was all ledge mostly. That-
This one actually isn't. This one's a nice lot.
It'd be nice to get that one done too.
I mean, it's a great area. I think if it's done well and, you know, with a professional architecture and construction team, I think we totally have the
Yeah.
capacity to handle this one. Based on the zoning analysis for this lot and the square footage with all of those lots combined together, just based on square footage requirements, we could hit 13 units.
What's the total square footage?
Altogether about 130,000
Oh, yeah.
for all of these lots together. So, you know, we'd love to consider that opportunity if you don't see any issues with that.
Shoot high, you know.
Shoot high.
You know, neighbor problems.
You know what?
That's the way it is.
Because all the abutters were so happy to see that trailer torn down.
Yeah, I mean,
Memories
it's an
are short.
improvement.
Yeah.
But
Memories are short. Single families is a lot big different than trying to do duplexes and. I mean, even duplexes that are a little lower and spread out, you know. Don't
Get someone
cause the
buys
ruckus.
their own home, they're taking care of it. Duplexes, they rent and they do.
Well, condos are different, you know, if you own your own condo. Condos.
I'm pro condo.
More people truthfully are buying condos. I don't know why.
I know why, because it's.
But they gouge you trying to buy a single house.
No. It's easier for us to sell condos.
Okay, so if we were to put together a plan with a flexible development path for both of these projects. On Woodruff, we would like to suggest a duplex. With Berlin, we would probably suggest somewhere in the ballpark of 19 condos.
Like I said, shoot high.
Is the best bet for us to come back here with a concept plan at a planning board meeting or go to zoning board first?
I would come back with something, come back informally again
Okay.
with the concept, and that way, before you spend any real money, you kind of have a feeling of, you get a feeling of how the board's opinion, you know,
Okay.
before you spend any real money, that you don't have to.
So you're saying she'd be better out, you'd rather do a duplex than divide those lots into two?
If we can do 2 single families, we're totally for that, but it sounds like, you know, based on what you're saying, that doesn't help with the frontage situation. So flexible development, I don't know if that allows for 2 single families, or if we're kind of forced into the duplex route with flexible development.
You're doing 2-family condos, or you doing the rent?
Most likely be condos.
I mean, when you get into flex, you can get into
You
smaller.
can do anything you want.
Smaller homes, larger quantity. Density isn't a problem. In my eyes personally, density isn't a problem if it's done right.
So with flexible development, you're okay with seeing individual homes?
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that's really what this meeting was for. We just want to know, you know, what you would like.
If you were to
see.
come in with a village atmosphere on those 59,000 square feet, and it was single, in my eyes, single units, a little more dense. So there's something to said about that,
Okay,
you know?
I'm all for it if that's what you think would work best.
No Nancy, no duplex by right. Nice try though.
No, I don't know why, because it's always been a right of way going in there. I'm being charged all these years for a buildable lot, and it's big enough to do a duplex, so I don't know, I think you're wrong.
I bet if you go down there, they'll give you your money back.
Huh?
I bet you go down to the assistance.
I think you're wrong about this.
Thank you for your time.
Challenge you,
tonight.
Dale.
You don't even know what happened.
Huh?
You don't even know what happened.
Yeah. It's a common driveway. It's a, if it has a hammerhead lot, it only needs 12 feet.
Well, I told you, it's in a route too.
Huh?
That's a route you could look at too.
But can a hammerhead lot have a defense?
We crossed that bridge already?
There's a question on that one up on Main Street. That's 30-something feet wide.
Which one you got?
Up on Main Street, past the Crystal on the right. The only house up, the only one up there in the water. There's a question with that because the square footage, you can't count that access road going in, the square footage. I know, I'm just saying that lot up there. and that-
Make a motion to close.
Oh, wait a minute, we got to.
Oh.
That's, Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I don't like these rules either.
Was make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'd like to make a motion, we accept the minutes from tonight,
No, from
Last meeting,
December 3rd and
December 3rd
and January 7th.
and January 7th.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion.
Motion to close?
Aye, second.
Yeah,